Oh yeah, a green screen. We forgot to work around that.
How would Green Man work in a green screen?
You just wouldn't be there.
Yeah, would that just cancel it out?
Yeah.
Green Man in a green screen and just nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that answers my question. I went to Green Man to a party once. Went as Green Man to a party.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it was actually technically what it was
Blue Man.
Yeah, Blue Man. No, it was things starting with S was the party, and then
Green.
No, and I was like, I saw the morph suit in the shop, and I was like, yes, I'm going as Green Man.
I don't give a shit.
I'm 100% going as Green Man, and then because it was things starting with S, I was like, snake. I'm a snake.
Yeah.
I'm a man snake.
Yeah. I'm a green man snake, and then it's like I'm Green Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was it was really liberating. I was just walking around the party like doing the Charlie moves and stuff.
Yeah, nice. Great. And people were like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
Do they know who Green Man was?
They didn't know who I was for like 20 minutes of the party, and then I unveiled, and then everyone was so
okay. And then you take it off, they're like, who the hell is that guy?
Put it back on. Put it back on.
Yeah.
Someone actually drew a dick on my ass, actually. Now I remember it. Someone had a permanent marker. You know, people like drawing shit.
Yeah.
Someone drew a dick on my butt.
So was it like a lot of definition
What kind
of thing? The penis?
Oh, it was
like you were aware of it, right?
Oh, I wasn't.
Like, they drew it, and you're like, looked like it took like 10 minutes to draw that.
No, I didn't have.
I wasn't even aware.
And, cum spurting out the top of it or anything. It was like a
okay,
kind of dick that they drew on me, and I was like, fuck. And then I was pissed because then I couldn't wear it ever again. Because then it's not Green Man. It's Green Man with the dick on your ass.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, time and place. I'm sure there's the right party out there for me in my outfit.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you want to do any grappling? Any no gi or anything like that in training?
That'd be a good outfit to wear to a competition if you were allowed to.
There was back in the day, there was a guy that he was like Spider-Man, and then he just started they were allowed to wear whatever, and then luckily he was good and he won the comp, just like full outfit like as Spider-Man.
That's sick. So, I would love to rock Spider-Man. Well, that's like what we were talking about the other day with Gordon Ryan. Like, if you wear a crown and stuff,
you got to be the man.
You got to be the man. If you're dressed up as Spider-Man, you got to be the man.
Yeah.
And as long as you win, it's all good. But if you lose, then you're that fuckhead that dressed up as Spider-Man.
Back in the day, there was you could wear whatever. I remember competing like with my shirt off, and then other people just wear like mufti day clothes and didn't even matter.
Really?
Whatever coloured gi you want. There was a guy who came out and like full pink gi, white belt, and I was like, this guy's going to be really good. And then you just got tapped out within the first 10 seconds. I was like, oh.
Yeah, because you're like, the guy wearing the pink gi is definitely the most confident guy in the room.
And word went around. I was like, oh, there's a guy with a pink gi. I was like, yeah, I see him. Everybody tune in. Let's watch him. Yeah, got smashed.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, but
can't how are grappling tournaments now compared to what they used to be? Like,
in what way, really? Like organising them and...
Yeah, kind of like... Well, it's all kind of like officiated now and like... They're strict and stuff with the uniform, like you were just saying.
I remember one of the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comps that I did, there was like 3 people in my division, and then that was it. I think the weight class was just like, you're adults kind of thing, and then you're under 100 kilos, and it was like not really much at all, but you could just kind of wear what you wanted, really. And then you went to blue belt, there's no one competing, and then I remember there was like 1 purple belt competition kind of thing, and it was just like, nothing really. Yeah. But there was comps here and there, and you could just wear whatever you want kind of thing. You just wear whatever clothes. And you see those comps like over in the States and stuff like that now.
Yeah, when people wearing, like you said, the Spider-Man
shirt. Like the Naga and stuff. It's like, it's just competing in a normal shirt. But it's just like, just whatever. But
can you do the bare-chested stuff anymore? I know they do for like ADCC and stuff.
I guess if you're like, quite strong, hairy back, and like full wrestler and stuff like that. No, I don't know.
Would that? I reckon that'd be funny.
Romanian or something like that. That would look.
I'm gonna go shirtless, and then you're like the hairiest dude.
Yeah.
In the room. And you like north south. Yeah.
Well, there are some people that are like not forced to, but like they have to wear a rash guard kind of thing. Where there's some people like, I'm not training that person unless they wear a rash guard. But that would be perfect. You're the hairiest person ever. Kind of like a dominance thing. You're like, I don't have my shirt on. I'm crazy hairy, and then So, I don't know. No, that would not fly.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't fly.
The ADCC comp, like I competed against a couple guys, and you could just wear whatever. I had my rash guard and shorts on because I'd always competed in that.
Yeah, so why change it?
And then a dude just had I was going to say a shirt on. That wouldn't have been good. But no, he just had shorts on, then no shirt. So
did you notice a difference?
No difference at all. No, I didn't even realize until after I saw photos. I was like, oh yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, not too bad. Not
When
like
did you compete at ADCC?
It was a trials like about maybe 2 years ago up in Queensland.
Yeah.
So
where was
the
that?
trials? It was just like it wasn't the trials. It was just like the first comp they were doing up here in Queensland. It was at I think like Metricon Stadium, just Carrara.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was fun.
How'd you go that day?
It was alright.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a couple of heel hooks and then getting caught in a heel hook, and my leg's still sore to this day from that. So tapping early and didn't matter, and yeah, good times.
Rough. What actually was the damage from that injury?
I don't know. I like a page of writing of things. They said you're as close as you can be to having surgery, so be very, very careful, because my knee went and my leg was quite straight initially and my ankle's still pretty sore, but if it just went on my knee, would have torn something. So
shit.
And I actually had my leg strapped up because that direction had already hurt, so people were like trying to attack my leg every time, and I just made a crazy error. I was like, I don't know what I was doing. I saw a leg, I went for it, didn't protect mine, and then
that's it.
Bada boom.
Yeah,
you know?
But that's
went out with a bang.
50-50, eh?
Yeah,
they've got the same options you do.
Yeah. I was it was funny, and then I was like in so much pain. I was like, I've destroyed my leg basically. And then it was the guy was like, "You're right. Yeah, come on, get off the mat. We're going to start the next one." And then actually the dude came over because I was like kind of hobbling away. He's like, "Well, you know what you signed up for." I was like, "I'm not complaining. I just can't move my leg."
Yeah, I'm actually injured right now.
And yeah, that hurt. So anyway, it's life.
Was that the last time you've competed?
It was.
Yeah.
So, but not for that reason, but for it's life.
Yeah,
I guess.
How long have you been training martial arts for?
About this December will be 25 years.
Fuck.
So
that's insane. I'm 25.
Getting on. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What was your first martial art?
I started doing Kempo karate.
So
there was no such thing as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and anything like that. And then I started doing like Japanese Jiu-Jitsu as well as kind of like a side-off thing. But there was like strikes involved in that one. It was just more like self-defense related.
Yeah, right.
Like
because Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is like judo, hey?
Yeah, it was a lot of judo. Yeah, and a lot of like weapon defense and so forth, and like standing locks and things that would work, but to like self-defense and so forth. When they don't really know what they're doing. And then I got smashed by like, I think, actually the first time I ever did grappling, like because our club, they organised comps that were just like, oh, we're doing striking, grappling, weapons, katas and whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll enter the grappling. And then I went in and competed, and that was the first time I did any grappling, and I just got destroyed. And it was just going by like weight class, and I went against like a brown belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and I was like, oh my God, that just killed me basically.
Oh, brutal.
I was like, I've got to learn this cool stuff. It was very, very undeveloped really before YouTube was kicking on and everything, and you get like the VCRs of just you'd hear about a Marcelo Garcia or something like that. It was just basically like Hoist Gracie was a man, and then I used to buy books and so forth of just like look at like sit-up sweep. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy, that technique. I've got like a new crazy technique that no one knows, but it was going back. So.
Yeah, true. It's hard to even imagine the sport back then when you'd think you're onto something with like a brand new technique, whereas now everyone knows every technique, or at least has the access to be able to kind of like
some of my old coaches, there was like ones that would like hold on to their techniques. They'd always get you with a certain technique, but they'd never teach it as well.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
they're now, like, they go to special moves.
Yeah, everyone can find everything much easier. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. So how old were you when you started?
I was 12. 11, 12. Yeah.
And what made you start?
Mortal Kombat. Playing Mortal Kombat, and also watching Bruce Lee movies and Van Damme movies, always hiring out all those martial art movies and stuff, so, yeah.
I think most people start for that reason, hey?
Yeah. Apparently I was real young and I was, like, kicking, the clothing that was on the line, and just whatever.
You came out swinging.
Basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
So when did you fully get into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu then, if you did Japanese for a while?
Well, I moved up from New South Wales and they didn't have my style up here, but just like a lot of people.
Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, and I was like, that's great anyway. It didn't really matter anyway. It didn't bother me, but I was watching the UFC like a lot of people and I was like, man, this Hoist Gracie fella, he's smashing everybody. And I was like, and all the Muay Thai guys seem to be doing really good with the stand-up. They got punches, kicks, knees, elbows. And I was like, all right, I've got to do those two things. So, I was training at a place for about maybe a year and a half, 2 years before I started training with Daniel Lima.
Yeah.
And then the other place was just at the PCYC. Eventually, the guy just disappeared. He was a brown belt and then went back to Brazil. We were just waiting around, a couple of students, and just like, what's going
never
on?
Heard from him.
No.
Really?
Fuck. So, yeah. And then basically, there was another student that I trained with as well that he was like, I'm going to go train with this Daniel Lima guy. And then I found out he was like the head of security for like a couple of places in surfers like Melbourne and so forth. It's like Daniel
was.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so small. What the hell would he know?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And then, there were stories of him like climbing up people's backs and choking him out and stuff like that. Just, And
you're like,
so I was like, okay, cool.
All right, I got to go to this dude.
Yeah. So I was on my white belt for probably maybe 3 years or something like that. Yeah, back in the day, like coming from traditional martial arts, it was always a set grading day kind of thing where I was like, I don't even know how people get graded kind of thing over here. Some people just did it different and it was just so kickback. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's just like you rock up and let's just do a warm-up and then some technique maybe and roll. And like back in the day, no way in hell would I ever turn up late to a class.
Yeah.
Coming from like karate, it's like, you're getting push-ups on the concrete and punishment for every minute you're late. So it's like 5 minutes late, like, I'm not going today. No way, I cannot make that at all. So, but anyway.
Do you think it kind of needs that? Or like, do you miss that it doesn't have that kind of element to it anymore?
I guess like there's got to be some form of that, I'm like if you're... Okay, I don't want to get too much into it.
You're not going to be beating people or like whipping them when they get into it.
No. There's the lawsuits these days.
Yeah.
We were doing stupid things back in the day, like, we're going to run and then go to the park, we're going to punch trees and do all this crazy stuff like that. And it was like, okay. And the motto was train hard, fight easy. And it was just like, you can't hang with us. We don't want you here. And I was like, how did they pay the bills back in the day? It was just like everybody seemed to be doing like a side job. And then that was just for fun. Yeah. Just like, if you're not tough enough, you're complaining about an injury or something, you're just like, piss off, you don't have to be here. Yeah. And that was basically it.
If you wanted to be here, you were.
Yeah. And you just, no one would complain about anything. So suck it up, basically.
Yeah.
But, going back to your question, there's got to be something like that. If you're constantly rocking up late to class, you're like, what are you doing? You don't do that at work. Well, maybe if you're the boss, maybe.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe your own boss.
But,
But I don't think I've ever come... I think maybe I come late to class once, I think. I tried to never do that. Yeah. I like to get there early and stretch, and I think it's just respectful anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's got to be some form of respect, otherwise we're just a bunch of randoms just doing whatever, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Rolling around.
Yeah. But like I'm never going to go, all right, burpees on the side. If I started to do that for somebody being late, they'd be like, oh, what?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, but all good.
Yeah. How different was it back then to now? Like even just in the gym, like watching people, how they roll and how they act with each other and interact with...
Okay, so I guess it's different, and I'm not going to say they had lack of technique back in the day, but it was just... You just learn the hard way. It was just, you're a higher belt. Your job is to just destroy everyone. Every single person was a hard roll because they'd just be going all out and it wouldn't even matter anyway. Yeah. But like these days, like some of the higher belts, I'll let them flow and so forth, let like the blues and the whites and stuff like that, practice moves and so forth. But as I was coming up, the high belts did not even care. They would just do whatever they possibly could to destroy you, and continue to tap you out. And if you stuck around, cool, you're not sucking as much, I guess. And then you just pass that on, passing the torch where you destroyed everyone. But I don't know. It's you get injured. Oh well, that's life really. But it was just all the high belts, 100% every single time. And that's what I say to some of the higher belts now. I'm like, what are you doing with this this newbie? Like, I mean, I know you can't destroy all the newbies anyway, but like some of them are like, oh, go too easy. I was like, dude, you're going so easy on everybody, building their confidence, and like, I don't know.
I guess it's time and place, eh?
There's a time and place, yeah.
Well, maybe they should build up the confidence.
Yeah.
Get a few weeks, wait till they've signed up the membership.
Yeah, that's it. Got the waiver in and then done.
Boom, smash face.
Yeah, true. The enforcers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
So there's a lot more injuries back in the day then?
I don't know. I was younger, so it wasn't as bad, I guess. Young and dumb and just push it to the limits. You're missing out if you're missing a training session, so you're never sitting on the sidelines, you're just rolling and you just work around injuries, which is good in a way, but then again, you know, you're releasing the endorphins, the happy hormones, you're like, oh, I've got to train, you know, like training is rolling for everybody. As much as you say, like I said to somebody the other day, got a bad injury, can't roll. And I was like, it's been like 3 days. Calm down, all good.
Yeah.
But like, I have to train. I was like, well, go do something else where it's not as unpredictable. Go to the gym, get a good sweat on.
Yeah.
Then you can come in and at least do technique and not roll. And then they're just rolling anyway, and then they're complaining about the injuries. I'm like, I don't want to hear about your injuries. I've got enough anyway. So all good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is hard though. I've been injured before and come in to do technique and they go, oh, I'm not rolling. And then you sit on the wall and you
2
just
minutes
like,
later.
Okay, jumping in.
Just get a like positional rolling. You know, you're like, oh, I've got to escape my side control technique. You know, so something that's not going to be, and be selective with your training partners anyway.
Yeah, of course. Someone you trust that isn't going to try and kill you.
Yeah. And, you know, let them know you've got an injury, because as soon as accidents happen, you're like, oh, God, got a bad knee. Like, we should have said that before. Because they don't even know. Because I've rolled with some people, like lower belts, and they're like, oh, thank gosh, I didn't tap out. I was like, I wasn't even trying to tap you out kind of thing. It's like, I was just trying to make you settle, because you're crazy, going all over the place.
And they're like, oh my God, I won the distance with Gavin.
I won the distance.
Holy fuck, I'm going to win this decision.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't even, anyway.
But that's
a win in some people's minds.
It's funny, because you never know what's in the other person's mind when you're rolling. Like, they could have just rolled out of bed, you know, had a shit night's sleep, working late, whatever. They're just trying to get another training session in. You've been up since 6 a.m. drinking protein shakes, doing push-ups. You think you're at the fucking world championships. You're like, I'm going to fuck this dude up. And the guy's like, no, I'm going to go for a flow roll today. Oh. You know what I mean? And the result of that roll could be whatever, but like, those two mentalities are like super different. You never know what the other person's thinking. Yeah.
It's funny though. I guess ego and stuff gets in the way, and even at high belts, like being a black belt and stuff like that, you still try and flow and you grab the grips and then go nice and relaxed, and then it's just 100%. And then I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, I asked for a relaxed roll, and then I find out later on from like maybe lower belts, they're like, oh, I had the best flow roll with that guy, and I'm like, well, it's different when you're, I guess, a black belt and a black belt. It's very different anyway. Like, I used to have some black belts back in the day. I remember being like blue, and then they'd get their 6 or 7 submissions, destroy you, then they'd start to relax and kick back.
Yeah.
But
now that they've demoralised you.
Yes.
Then chill back.
But all good.
Does it kind of feel like you got a target on your back when you got your black belt?
Nah, it
doesn't like.
Yeah, maybe. It just yeah. I mean, let's say, you know, like you just get your blue belt, and then all the people that haven't got their blue belt yet, they're hunting for you, and then all the blue belts are like, we're going to make sure he's blue belt level or something like that. Yeah. You know, it's how you roll and so forth. Doesn't really bother me anyway.
Yeah, I definitely remember that when I got my blue belt. All the white belts like fuck, you got your blue belt.
I tapped him out last week. Why don't I have my blue belt?
Exactly.
So
definitely felt the heat turn up.
Yeah, but it's funny. I mean, it doesn't matter what happens in class. I put myself in the most awkward positions, as you do too. Yeah. Because you're not in competition anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The result doesn't matter.
No, not at all. And then you want to stuff up now before you go into competition, and then say somebody gets your back, and you're like, I've never had someone on my back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're going to freak out the first time somebody gets your back. You're like, they're going to choke me. Yeah. And then they usually choke you.
They usually choke you. Yeah. Because you're like,
Yeah. But then you get to a good level, and it's just like, oh, okay, they've got both hooks in. They've got the arm around the neck, and you're just like, oh, I'm just defending. And they're like, put your hands up to defend. You're like, I know what I'm doing. It's all good. I can just move my body and so
shift
forth.
Shift your hips around. Yeah, clear the hooks.
Yeah. Because you've been there so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to be in the bad positions. That's like, I don't know, for me anyway, that was a big change in my jiu-jitsu when I focused on escaping stuff rather than submissions. I used to be like, you have to submit, you know what I mean? Like,
and people...
that's the ultimate goal, right?
Of course it is, yeah, definitely. But like, A win is just turning up to training.
Yes,
you're
exactly.
not as shit as you were before,
You're
or
better.
you find out you were shitter because you've overdone it for that week and you're just like ruined, and that's all good because you could have just stayed home and thought you were the man.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But a win can be, all right, sweet, I got out of side control, or I was caught in a bad position and I got out.
Yeah.
Not like, I got tapped out 6 times, but maybe got tapped out 5 times or something.
Yeah.
Or just
It's the little
who was
wins.
tapping you out, or I didn't get caught in the same submission, or little wins. But we're our biggest critics anyway.
Yeah.
So if something's not right, like ask as many questions as you can. Oh, I got caught in an armbar. What did you do there? Oh, what was I doing wrong? Which I suggest everybody do that.
I usually
and
learn
learn from your mistakes.
What was that? What did you do then? And you grab my wrist and you like shift it off. I haven't seen that before. And usually they'll tell you. If you're nice about it, they'll usually tell you because they're like, yeah, that was cool, right? Like
instead of getting annoyed and then trying to get angry
Yeah.
and get even and so forth. But
and when you get angry and try to like put the pressure back on them, you usually get tapped out quicker and harder anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking clearly and the other person is.
But it's hard, like with the whole ego thing and stuff. It's we're fighting for our life in a way, but who cares? I mean, you could get somebody that's training maybe like yourself, maybe a bunch of times a week, maybe like 6 or 7 times a week, or some of the other guys that are competing a lot, and then they're coming very close to actually breaking themselves as well. And then you get the guy that trains once or twice a week, and then it's 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're fighting for your life, or you injure yourself, and it's just like, oh, far out. So you got to be selective in a way, because we're putting ourselves in the most awkward, weirdest positions that we're not really designed to push it to the limits and like test out the limits of like our shoulder getting twisted or getting choked out or something like that.
In half.
And it's very unpredictable, and obviously you get like crazy muscle imbalances because you're passing one way. So so
I've noticed that like my right forearm is a lot bigger than my left, just from like a collar grip on the gi, and I'm like, I'm gonna be weird looking.
Just a collar grip.
Yeah. Nobody masturbates here. Nobody does.
Okay. We don't talk about that. Okay then.
But at some point, I noticed when I started competing, the gym felt less of a thing. Like once I started having like my first few competitions, I was less concerned with the results in the gym.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter as long as I can. It matters on the day in competition when that guy's going 100%, I'm going 100%. And that's when the results do matter.
Yeah,
but in the gym, it doesn't matter if you get tapped out.
Of course. And you can even you can have really good performances like at the comp and just destroy somebody because you're better than them.
Yeah.
And or you can have like a loss and then you tried your best, you didn't do anything wrong, maybe they're just a little bit better and a bit more experienced, and then that's a win in a way as well. So, but then again, like let's say you go out, destroy somebody, and then get an easy submission, you've still got things to work on as well, because that's not going to work on everyone as well. So as long as you're learning from it, like, okay, cool, that didn't work, or that did work, or how can I improve it, and so forth. And
well, that's why they say you learn more from your mistakes.
True.
As
long as
more
that's
from your losses.
Yeah, you're only really losing if you're not learning from it as well.
Yeah.
Just not getting annoyed and then avoiding those positions, and then that will come back to rolling. You get like somebody that's like quite big and strong and still got that ego, and then that's life and whatever. But you do a takedown and you hold them there, and then you get a guard pass, and in 5 minutes nothing really happened. You got a wicked isometric workout, but that's it. But in your mind, that's a win.
Yeah.
You're like, what variables did we go over? We could have covered so many other positions, but ego is in the way. Yeah. So,
well, that's why I like to flow roll most of the time.
Of course.
And not overly use muscle for anything.
You're never staying still.
No.
I constantly, like I heard this morning, somebody said, like, I saw how much he's inverting and moving his hips. Now I know I've just got to hold his hips on the ground, not let him move. I won't say who that is because that person will try and do it to you. And who knows?
Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Yeah, it was Rennie.
I'm a slippery boy.
It was Rennie.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the more you transition, the more jiu-jitsu you see, and the more positions you get exposed to, and the better your jiu-jitsu gets all over, I reckon.
Of course.
Rather than being stuck in like top half guard squeezing someone's head,
yeah,
and they're working that one escape, and you're just holding them there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're never going to learn anything from that.
I guess when we're talking about flow rolling anyway, like initially when you're first starting, you're like, I know a bit from here and a bit from here and here. Yeah. So you're scrambling to get to that position, and you're like, now I'm here. So it's hard to say, just flow.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you don't know where you are half the time.
You're like, I think I'm in a good position. You're like trying to choke them inside guard or something like that. So for a while, it makes sense just to get back to that certain position where you're like, I've got heaps of little things that I like to do here. So
yeah,
it depends on who you're rolling with.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's true. But it's definitely the best advice to flow, because then you get to see the different positions more rather than just being in closed guard and being stuck there for the whole round.
And yes, being strong, you're going to use that. You've always had that. You, definitely. Like smaller people, they're going to have to rely on technique and so forth and everything. But then again, if you're using your strength all the time, like it's so much easier teaching a smaller person without muscle that has never been able to rely on that, as opposed to somebody, the other way. So they've always had that strength. So it's hard to tell people to switch that off.
Well, because the smaller person has to be technical in order for their jiu-jitsu to work anyway. Yeah. Whereas the bigger person can get away with more things that aren't as technical, but it works. So you're going, no, you should do it this way because it's the right technique. And they're like, yeah, but it kind of works when I just cross-face the shit out of them and squish on my way. Yeah. And you're like, yes, that's true. Yeah. But it's not going to work on everybody.
Like one of my students, though, he was like Australia's strongman for years. Absolute mutant, like 135 kilos of just muscle.
Jesus.
So, and he said, but like I've always used but you always find somebody stronger. And like, maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, okay. Maybe not this case.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well I can't really use that with you.
Yeah, that's not a good analogy.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That would have been hard to teach, actually.
Well, didn't have the best gas tank, so I was like, oh, you got to focus on that.
True.
So anyway, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, I mean, strength does matter. Obviously, you get to competition, you've got strength. Why is there weight classes? Of course, there's weight classes for a reason, because, you get somebody small, technique, somebody bigger with technique and strength. It's going to matter, definitely. Yeah. So
exactly.
But obviously, when you're in class, you've got to really flow as much as you can and try not to use too much strength.
Yeah. Which, I guess, if you are bigger as well, like considerably bigger, it's harder to move your body around.
Yeah, like, invert like some people.
Yeah, like I weigh 68 kilos, you know what I mean? So obviously it's easy for me to move around and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas
you're forced to.
Yeah, because I'm forced to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yes.
I agree, yeah.
Just making sure you agree.
Rolling with you is annoying.
Closer?
Yeah. Okay,
a little closer.
There we go.
There we go.
Too close.
Too close?
Yeah.
So when did your MMA career start?
Well, like I was always doing random competitions that were like, wasn't just grappling or it wasn't just striking. I started like when I was starting to do karate. I went in this first competition when I was like maybe like 15 or something, where it was like MMA.
Yeah.
But it was with a gi. You could kick him in the head, but you couldn't punch him in the head.
What?
So, yeah, you could do elbows and knees and hit them on the ground and so forth. But I'd much prefer to probably get punched in the head than kicked in the head.
I'd second that.
So, yeah, I was just like, yeah, let's give it a go kind of thing. And I represent Australia for that. It was called Viadol, and then went over to Europe to compete. And then got disqualified because I didn't really know the rules. My coaches were like, because I competed in the adult division when I was 15, we thought it was the same rule set. So I went over there and apparently it was like semi-contact or something. And I was hitting them on the ground and they're like, no, it's over. You can't hit them on the ground. I was like, what? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, what?
But I went over there for that. But I don't know, maybe it was my fault. But I didn't know the rule set and speak the language. So
that always helps.
But that was, I guess, my first kind of MMA competition, really.
And then you kind of won.
Kind of won.
That's a win. I mean, you didn't get your hand raised, but you won.
No, but yeah. But that was it, really. And then a couple of years later, after I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and had been doing that for quite a while, went in a couple of like C-class competitions where there was punches, kicks, and knees and elbows and stuff involved as well. So, and then from there, competed in B class for a while, inside the cage.
How do they determine the classes between like C and B? Was it just experience or?
Well, no, like my first fight, I wanted to fight professional.
Yeah.
But my opponent kept changing. So a couple of weeks out, it went from, I think it was like a month out, and then my opponent changed and I didn't have an opponent. I was like, okay. And then there's somebody else for a couple of days. And then I was like, my coach, Daniel at the time, was like, just keep training. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You'll get somebody anyway. Yeah. So I was planning on fighting for 5-minute rounds. Everything goes basically. And then within the last week, I think they were like, oh, we've got somebody for you to fight, but he only wants to fight for 3 minutes, B class. So it's just really, you can pick. It didn't really matter.
Right.
So
and that's amateur.
That was amateur, yeah. So I stuck with amateur for a while anyway, and then it doesn't really change much. You're still getting punched, kicked, kneed. Yeah. It's just like, if you're not as fit, it doesn't matter. It's only 3 minutes, but I've competed for like 5-minute rounds, and it just depends on how fit you are. And sometimes 3-minute rounds can feel like a lifetime. It just depends on how well you're actually doing anyway. But competed in that for a little bit, and I went in Kudo as well. So it's like MMA with a gi on. Yeah. So punches, kicks, knees, and elbows.
Is that just on mats, or is that in a ring?
It's basically the same as like jiu-jitsu mats. Right. So there's no ring or anything. They've got face protection going over your face. No touching of the face or hair kind of anything. So it's like a leather mask.
Sexy,
yeah.
Very sexy. Does it have a zipper at the front?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like a plastic bit going over the front of your face, because you're allowed to headbutt in that as well.
What the fuck?
So
really?
Yeah. So, but then again,
with the face mask on.
Yeah. So, but then again, if you get hit here, it's only just like a cover. So you get like knockouts a fair bit as well, because kind of threw off your perception as well. Like you lean back from a jab and you're like, oh, far out, I still got hit. I found like you got hit because like maybe it's a little bit further out.
You
get like
face.
good whiplash. Yeah, more face.
Yeah.
So, but that was cool. And then there was like a limited time on the ground. So everything goes stand up, and then if you're clinching your partner, I think it's like you have like 10 seconds of holding and they separate you. But if you throw them down to the mat, you're allowed to do most submissions, except for I think like rotating leg locks or something like that.
So if you initiated the takedown and ended up on top, they'd let you work?
Yeah, well, you get, like, let's say the round's 3 minutes. Yeah. I think from what I remember, it was you have 2 times of 30 seconds on the ground. So let's say I go for a takedown, I get somebody to the ground, we're allowed to move around, you got 30 seconds to work. And then they start you back up again. A clinch happens, somebody gets swept to the mat, punches and everything kind of go depending on the position, and then after 30 seconds jump back up, and then if it happens again they instantly stand them back up. So it's much more catered towards strikers.
Yeah, of course.
So it's kind of like judo and karate together, so in a way. So it's fun. That was good.
It kind of makes sense in a way.
It's so much fun to watch as well.
Yeah.
There was like kids divisions as well with the shin pads on, and then like, I mean, I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it does get a bit boring sometimes, where punches, kicks, knees, elbows thrown to the ground and everything goes, submissions and so forth. Really cool to watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did that for a little bit. And after that, I ended up competing. Like I was always doing like jiu-jitsu competitions, submission grappling and so forth, and a little bit of Muay Thai as well. And then I competed professionally in MMA as well. So, yeah.
After how many years did you go pro?
Not a lot, really. Like, there was a fair few injuries where I had to stop. Yeah. So there were not a lot of fights that I had before I jumped in and went pro anyway, but there was probably big gaps in there. Like, I got a belt for like an amateur MMA organization, XFC. So, and I had to vacate that because I planned on fighting again, but I damaged my neck at the time, and then I couldn't continue to fight. So I think it was like 2 years later, then I came back once my neck was feeling pretty good and went pro. And then, so, yeah.
And then how many fights did you have at pro?
I only had 2.
2?
Yeah. So a lot before that, but yeah. So only 2, and then fought a bit of Muay Thai, but just a little bit held back from the body. So all good. So just focusing more on just coaching these days. Yeah.
And what a coach you are.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a stay coach because if I come back, I'm going to get smashed by all my students. So, yeah.
I doubt that very much. I've even done like flowy light rolls with you. I'm like, I'm in trouble this whole time.
Yeah. Little do you know, I'm thinking the same thing as well. Yeah. getting jealous because I can't invert like you can. So.
Yeah. Well, who knows what that will have a toll on me in my lifetime.
Oh, well, it's jiu-jitsu.
That's jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
We pay for it.
Self-inflicted, worth it.
So what are your goals anyway, jiu-jitsu wise?
I don't really know. I never thought I'd compete.
Yeah.
I kind of just started it to get myself fit and to get in shape, and then I ended up just falling in love with it. And the more I've competed, and I've been quite successful the last few competitions, and now I kind of think, like, let's just see how far I can go with it, really.
Would you like to just stick to grappling, like just jiu-jitsu, like gi and no gi, or are you thinking maybe go and say something else?
What, like MMA?
Oh, no, I was going to say like maybe like judo or a wrestling comp or something like that.
I'd do a wrestling comp for sure. Or a judo comp, get flipped on my back. I mean,
not?
I haven't done much. I've done a little bit of judo, but it's mostly just me getting flipped on my back. Cool. I would do it for sure.
Yeah.
I even wouldn't say no to MMA one day in the future, if as like a bucket list thing.
Imanari roll or somebody.
I would 100%. My style would all be Ryan Hall. I just
nice.
Karate kick away and then just fucking roll for a
Imanari
load.
roll.
Yeah.
Like, get in my guard.
Yeah, that'd be me. I'd be the butt scooter. Yeah. Come on.
Of MMA.
Yeah. That'd be me.
That could
100%.
be like your patch, like butt scooting guy and the guy's standing with his hands up or something.
But I don't know. I had a lot of head injuries when I was younger. I played rugby union and stuff for 8 years. I got knocked out a couple of times. I got fucking king hit in Melbourne when I lived down there. Okay. I ended up in hospital, which is why I ended up doing jiu-jitsu.
Loudmouth.
Yeah, 100%. I was talking all the shit.
Yeah, okay.
No, that was the funny thing about that was the one time I wasn't talking shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just walking down the street.
Caught up on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crackheads, man.
So you may as well keep talking shit then.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that wasn't the reason.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop me. But that's why I wanted to get into jiu-jitsu because there was no strikes involved. Yep. So I was like, cool, I can like do this longevity-wise. And not like, because I always liked boxing as well, but boxing cumulative hits to the head. I was like, maybe not. But then like I've done a few Muay Thai classes with you and stuff, and I actually really like kicking and punching. It's fun. But like,
well, there's a time and place for hitting hard. Like if let's say I've got a student competing in a Muay Thai competition or kickboxing or something with like boxing or MMA, I've got to make sure that they can actually take a hit. But then again, not every class.
Yes.
So hit them hard with the pads and so forth, and then there would be somebody like that would spar with them quite hard to make sure they can take a hit because that would be bad. But then, okay, cool, you don't have to prove it every single class. Yeah. Which I actually had to yell at a couple of students the other week for that reason. I'm like, every single time you leave, you got a black eye or you got like a very damaged leg or something, or somebody's getting dropped or something like that. That's cool for now. And I sound like a hypocrite because I remember I was doing the exact same thing because I didn't know any better. And then again, I just got told what to do and it was just spar hard all the time.
That just you've just learned from your mistakes and you're trying to impart your
wisdom. Remember all that, so maybe negative reinforcement. No, but just land your hits. Like I've sparred with a lot of people and it's just like land your hits. Anybody can hit hard. That's what the heavy bag's for. Or hitting pads. You can do that. No stress. You don't have to prove that you can hit hard. Yeah. All good. It's it's funny, but land your hits. Don't get angry, get even is what I usually say. It's like, okay, just like point sparring, which I came kind of from point sparring anyway back in the day. So,
well, that's what I was going to bring up with like Wonder Boy and stuff. Like, look at him in the UFC, and he's all just touch. But if he touches you 50 to 100 times, you're probably going to drop.
Yeah, but I'd been sparring with certain people back in the day, and the coach would yell out if I went to a certain place, and they were like, all right, if you're not hitting at least 90% with every your hit, you can get the fuck out of here and don't come back.
90?
And I was like, oh, okay. And even people we're sparring with were just kind of like, oh, sorry, I guess like I got to do it because it's like their job and so forth, that they work there and so forth, like they're coaches. But I was just like, what the hell? And people dropping here and there. And I was like, yeah, so that was fun.
That's fucked. Well, that's when people get knocked out in their fights too a lot of the time. Yeah. Like I know Anthony Joshua, when he got knocked out by Ruiz, apparently he'd been knocked out in sparring like 2 weeks beforehand. Yeah. And wasn't quite all there like again. Yeah. And like heaps of UFC fighters are like stopping sparring now as well and just doing like...
But I guess there's like, especially when people say that, well, we're not sparring anymore, but like, do you always spar hard? Because if you're always sparring hard, don't do that. But there's different levels. It's like grappling. Yeah. You can go 100% and you're probably going to break something, or you can flow. All good. You know, look at like the tires. Like some of them spar hard. If they're doing boxing, they got gloves and headgear on and stuff. But most of the time, they're just like they're not going too hard. Like at the end of the day, you're beating yourself up to go into a competition where that person is trying to beat you up. You want to feel like terrible example, but hurt myself so many times leading up to the comp and then competed already injured. Yeah. So it's just like, I guess you could say like a triathlete, they're not going to do the exact same distance every single time, and they want to feel good and fresh for that day. Like leading up to it, the last week out or something, they're not going as hard, so you're feeling 100%, especially when there's like weight cuts involved as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You're going to feel like death anyway, and that can ruin everything. And yeah, like I found myself with competing, it was I could keep pushing my body to the limits as much as I possibly could, and I'd injure myself, and pain was just a part of everyday training, and that was normal. But like it was like long-term injuries, and I'm just like, all good, that's normal, I don't care, it's not going to stop me. And then like you get broken down physically so many times, and then mentally it starts to hit you, and you're just like, I fucking hate this kind of thing. But you should have like had a rest a little bit before then. Yeah. So it's good to train like an athlete as opposed to a fighter. But it's hard when you're like, but I'm going in something, like if I don't train hard,
you're not conditioned.
Somebody's trained harder than me.
Yeah.
So it's just, but training smarter, not harder.
Smarter, not harder.
So
definitely,
it's like you're going to like get ready for competition and roll hard every single roll twice a day, you're going to be ruined by the end of the week. And then come the weekend, you're like, I'm buggered. And then you're competing. So,
well, that's what I did my last one. I was training hard, but I wasn't trying to overdo it. I knew I was like, because I train like 5 days a week. So I was like, I don't want to overdo it and burn myself out by the time I get there. Yeah. And then I was just kind of cruising the last few days, still rolling, but not going like super hard. Like not when someone's just about to sweep me, I'm not like fighting to let it happen and then work from work from the bottom and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I had the day off before, and then I felt great on the day. Yeah,
you're young. It's all good. Well, you can also do that as well. Yeah. Spring chicken. It's all good. Yeah, that's right. But I mean, you get to a certain level of condition and stuff, and you're fine to do that a lot more than other people anyway. Yeah. So where it's just like you do weights twice a week or once, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and then you're resetting every time you start. You're sore for 4 days. Yeah. But if you're doing it every couple of days and different weight groups and different muscles and so forth, you should be fine. You just you get conditioned to anything really. Yeah. So, we adapt. Like we evolve. Like my fingers are all messed up, and I got the calluses over the front of my knuckles from holding the gi. Yeah. And like Jazz does rock climbing. Yeah. And his hands are all fucking calloused here from climbing rocks. And then CB, he's a roofer, and his hands are all fucking cut up here from roofing and gets all calluses here. It's like no matter what you do, you're gonna get conditioned. Your body's gonna adapt in a certain way to whatever for sure.
Whatever you do.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like, oh, how do you, like they're always wearing tape on their hands and stuff from Spider Guard. It goes hand in hand. You've got tape on your fingers because you do Spider Guard, and like, how do I not hurt my fingers? I'm like, just let go. Don't
do Spider Guard.
Let go and grab again. Yeah. Like I've never worn tape in my whole life unless like I've broken a finger. You're like, let go. If you see them really pull like this and you're holding, you're like, oh, far out, that's going to hurt. Or just let go and grab again.
Yeah. So that's more what it's about, just knowing when to let go.
Yeah. Because I've not give up on it
either. Not from just grabbing anyway. When I first started, like early days, I was like, oh, my fingers. And I was one of those people. I said the same thing. I'm like, how do I stop my fingers from hurting? They're like, stop doing Spider Guard. And I'm like, yeah. But it's a guard, right? And we're doing jiu-jitsu. What do you mean? But like, obviously the more experience you get, that's why.
Yeah, but I guess maybe we should try putting tape on our fingers and be like, oh my God, this whole time, far out.
Oh my God, my fingers are so much stronger. I had no idea.
It's like wrestling shoes. People are like, well, like when I would teach a wrestling class, people were like, oh, are they any good? Do I have to wear them? I was like, no, you never have to wear them at all. All good. But then as soon as you do, you're like, whoa, I got so much more grip, so much more speed.
Friction on the mat.
Not worrying about slipping over or rolling a toe or something like that. But it's good to do both anyway.
It's good to drive as well, hey?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Don't get turf toe or anything at all. It's just terrible. But, I don't know. We have to start playing more Spider Guard, which I do all the time anyway. But I like throw some tape on. Yeah. Maybe it's more friction.
I always see the tape, like the cross tape.
Yeah.
What's that do? Is that a thing?
It's good when you've got the camera out and you get photos.
Okay, yeah.
No, actually, I don't know.
A badass when you crack your knuckles.
No, honestly. People at the moment, they're probably watching this, they're like, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah. The tape is the
tape
answer.
is everything. Jiu-jitsu tape. Well, not going to get sponsored for this anyway.
Yeah, probably not.
So no tape sponsors anyway. Or prove us wrong.
Yeah, prove us wrong.
Who knows?
Tell me, I'm open to it. I'm an open-minded guy.
Next one, you could be starting the podcast going, Jiu-Jitsu tape.
Yeah, and
it's
my
the
fingers
best
are all
thing.
fucking tape. It's the best thing.
Like,
I got my head wrapped
everything
in tape.
is sticking to everything.
Yeah.
Like, yes, man.
I'm mummified.
Jim Carrey, yeah. Yeah.
Get your finger tape.
Yeah.
Oh, finger tape. Shit, not everywhere tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, back to your question, my jiu-jitsu goals. I just wanted to get my black belt and have my own gym one day and be able to teach like you do. Like, I really look up to people like you and Daniel
that's
and
cool.
Kayla. Like, I think it's just an awesome way to live your life and
That's good.
spread knowledge and
empower
people, man.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like saved my life. Like, I used to be fucking drinking, smoking, all the rest. I was a DJ, partying and stuff, and I was kind of like, fuck, I don't think I could do this forever. Like, had my fun and stuff. But like, dad was a drinker as well. Still is. Will be to the day he dies.
Yep.
He'll have a glass of whiskey in his hand when he dies.
But you'll drink him under the table, right?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Well, these days, now that he's...
Not so much.
Yeah, but my dad was a fucking freak, man. Me and him would drink a bottle of whiskey, and then he'd be in the kitchen at 7 a.m. in the morning making scrambled eggs, calling me a pussy while I'm like, oh, my head. My dad's built out of something
Hair of
different.
the dog, right?
Yeah, but I thought it was like I'm predisposed to this in my family. Like, I'm just always going to be a drinker, and it wasn't until I started jiu-jitsu that I realized there was I could do it. I could go a different path.
They do not go hand in hand whatsoever.
No, and that was when I quit cigarettes as well because I was like, my first class got absolutely smashed.
Yeah,
and was like wheezing and like my lungs hurt and everything. I was like, I can't do both. And at the time, I was spending $40 a week on like a pouch of tobacco and lighter and filters or whatever. And jiu-jitsu classes were like $37 a week. And I was like, all right, well, if I quit smoking and then swap that money for jiu-jitsu, then I can't complain about the money and I'll focus my attention on that. And then it just snowballed from there.
Well, I guess, I mean, each to their own, whatever people are into, but you got to break away from that cycle if that's not what you want to do. As you know, they do not go hand in hand, and then smoking and drinking and training. I
mean, I still have a drink every now and then and stuff like that, of course, but like as a lifestyle, no. And it just wasn't the lifestyle I wanted to live. Like, and as soon as I started doing jiu-jitsu, I realized that this was the lifestyle that I wanted to have. Yeah,
it's just like most people, I guess. You go out on the weekend and then younger days, like you sleep all of Saturday and Sunday because you've been out all night, and then you're older and you're like, that could be my only day off. So I'm like, I've got to make the most of it.
I had washing to do. I had all like
things we neglect.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to do that hungover.
I think when I get drunk now, I go, there's a waste of 2 days.
Yeah.
Because it's the day after. It's the day of because I'm just a spastic when I'm drunk, and then it's the day after when I'm recovering, and then even the third day sometimes I'm like, I still feel shit.
Yeah, and then you come into jiu-jitsu training, you're like a couple of days later, you're like, oh, still don't feel good.
And get smashed, and I'm like, I'm never drinking again. Fuck this.
Yeah, but I guess like anything, you get conditioned to anything, right?
Yeah.
So
well, and exactly like when I used to drink all the time, it was like nothing. I never really got hangovers. Like obviously I was probably younger as well. Like that's definitely part of it. But like I got drunk a week or two ago. Oh my God, I was on death's door.
Ruined.
Yeah, like fetal position. Felt like someone was putting a drill bit through my head in slow motion. That's what it felt like. Like this headache from hell just drilling through my skull.
The healthier you are, the negative reinforcement you needed. Yes. What am I doing with my life?
I was like, what am I doing? I'm a physical specimen. I'm a supreme athlete. Why am I putting poison into my body?
Golden God,
yeah. I'm a 5-star man.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it unleaded.
Yeah.
I'm a premium guy.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. Anyway. But that's probably what you needed.
Yeah, and it was.
A balance though, right?
100%.
Like everything.
Like balance, well. Exactly right. But just changed my life and set me on a new trajectory, really.
Yeah.
And then I just wasn't because I used to like want to drink. Yeah. And now I don't even want to drink.
Well, I guess
it seems like a chore.
Well, I don't know what you're like back in the day, but a lot of people just need to hold something in their hand.
100%.
Or you're on the dance floor and you're like, I can't dance. I need to be doing something, or I want to be on the in crowd, and to come out of my shell, I've got to like drink or something like that, or go out, and it's an excuse to like hang out and talk to people while I smoke or something. So
that was how I started smoking, because I was drinking heaps, and then the only time you could chat to someone was when you go out and have a smoke, and then I go out and can I buy one of those? And then all of a sudden, cut to a year later, and I'm smoking cigarettes. It's like, fuck. But I remember being like, when I turned 18, because like the big thing when you turn 18 is, now I can drink. cool. And I looked at my dad and I was like, oh, well, smoking and drinking is what like makes you a man.
Yeah,
that's like fully what I remember thinking that, and like, oh, I can smoke and drink now. Like I'm a man. I can sit at the pub and it wasn't until like a few years later where I was like, that's not what.
Yeah, and you can change it as well. Like we are products of our own upbringing anyway. Yeah. But then, I guess you don't have to follow in the same footsteps as other people.
Of course.
I mean, so yeah.
And when I started fighting, it was the only thing that actually made me feel like a man, and what a man should be is like a respectful person who can defend himself and hold his own. And
of course.
And then those kind of became the things I valued.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, well, there we go. They're good things to value, and, you can be role models for other people.
Yeah.
Because like it or not, you're a high rank and you're coaching now as well, so people look up to you as well, so I don't know. I
know, which is crazy because it's like, time goes so quickly, like it just feels like yesterday that I was the dude looking at a blue belt like, fuck, man, I want to be there. Like, I want to be as good as that guy.
Like I was saying to that to a purple belt the other day, and also a brown belt actually. He's always questioning himself. He's like, I don't know if I can do the warm-up, or I don't know about this. And I'm like, dude, you're a brown belt, like it or not. Like, whatever you do, if you, like, people are idolizing you and wanting to be like you, although you're not like the head honcho, you're not the coach, you don't own the club or anything like that, but you're almost a black belt. And now I've said this to other purple belts as well. It's like, they're not going to approach you because you're intimidating and you're the purple belt. You're going to be going, oh yeah, let's have a roll, because they're not going to approach you because you're like out of a sign of respect, and also you're a scary purple belt kind of thing. So
100%. And there's that thing in jiu-jitsu where you're not supposed to ask the higher belt for a roll or whatever, or it's like
it's all right. It's how you go about it.
It's how you go about it. I do.
It's like you and me, let's go right now.
Yeah.
Like,
just calling people out.
The hell is this guy kind of thing? But it'd be right if you did that.
Yeah.
If you do that to some random, they're like, who is this guy? Is he joking? Or he wants to go? Or Yeah, but I mean,
that's the thing, hey. You never think you're that person until you are that person, like that other people look up to.
Even now, myself, like I've been coaching for years, full time as well, but like also, like I forget that I'm the main coach all the time in a way and stuff like that. Where even like black belts like that are under me, they look at me as a coach, and I'm like, but you're a black belt as well.
Yeah.
We're like similar level, and like, but maybe I'm a little bit above them or something. But yeah, it's a funny thing as well. But it's, I guess, kind of comes down to, that's the biggest thing. Like passing on the knowledge is the most important thing, I feel. Anyway, I don't hold any secrets back or anything.
Yeah.
I want my students to get better, like become way better than me, so they can smash me, but also to just pass it on as well. So,
well, that's the goal.
You have an open mind.
You want your student to be better than you were.
Yeah, true, definitely. But then again, in saying the same thing, it depends. Everybody's different. I know I've had to have take a step back because I've got like such an addictive personality where with martial arts, I never ever stop thinking about it. I go home and then I'm thinking about other things, and it's like 24/7 non-stop. And I know people aren't as addicted as I am. So like myself, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. And if it's wrong, I'll do it again and again and again. And I'm never ever satisfied, which is a blessing and a curse, which makes you better. But then again, never satisfied with what I do, although great performance or something like that, or I did it perfect, I'm like, still be better.
You're a perfectionist.
But I know not everyone's like that. Where like initially I'd be like, no, terrible, do it again, it's wrong. And people get bored and they just like lose motivation. But taking a step back, and not everybody thinks like that. So it's okay to be like that anyway, and just go, oh no, that's all good, keep working. And positive reinforcement is good sometimes where,
not to the point where egos are inflated.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all a balance.
Yeah, definitely. You got to teach people very differently. Like some people like visual learners, and some people just got to do it themselves. And I talk to students differently depending on who they are as well. And that's just like with anything.
It's like life.
Yeah, definitely. So some people like to let, like, I don't know, like if I'm like, no, that was completely wrong, do it again. And they're like, okay. And some people like
take that the wrong way.
Yeah, some people take it to heart, and they're like, no, you're doing a really good job. I think this would be better, as opposed to, oh, that was really good, but you could have done it better like this. Same thing. It's just you said but, and then that's all they remember.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess, how you word it and who you're working with. But anyway, it was me rambling on about stuff. But yeah. So
yeah. What else is new with you? You've been making the jiu-jitsu videos for jiu-jitsu grappling. Shout out.
Yeah, that's kind of just like a side thing to do because I'm not able to train as much these days. So it still feels like I'm kind of being a part of it and kind of throwing knowledge into videos and stuff. It's just more for fun, just a little bit of a hobby, like making jiu-jitsu courses and videos and so forth. So that's fun anyway, and also just to help my students out. And then they're like, oh, how do I do this? I'm like, oh, I got a video of that. I'll send it to you later on and so forth. But yeah, I just enjoy doing that anyway. I don't know what I'm doing editing-wise. I'm just winging it.
No, they're really good. I really like the video, especially the breakdown ones. The breakdown ones are awesome.
Yeah.
There was one, I think, with me and Trent, the blue-purple one.
Yep.
And I go for a sloppy heel hook. And then it cuts to one of your old instructional videos being like, this is what you don't do.
Yeah,
it's like this, and this is how you do it. I actually really like that because I'm like, oh, I fucked that up. And this is why. And then this is how to do it properly.
Yeah, where I think I probably said something like, you did a really good job. This is how we actually do it. Not like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. But now I live and learn. Okay, like, okay, cool. Now I know how to do it. Now you're getting heel hooks.
Yeah, see, that doesn't hurt my feelings if you're just like, wrong. I'm like, yeah, okay, it is wrong. How do I actually do it?
Yeah.
I don't take that.
Just trying to do something a little bit different anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, I enjoy doing those videos. It's fun. So, yeah. We did so many grading videos for all the grading jiu-jitsu techniques and all these other videos, just random videos. I was like, oh, let's do this one, this one, this one. And then like guard passing and sweeping and spider guard and whatever submissions and so forth. So just trying to get it out there as much as I possibly can just for fun, really, for me. So just to keep my mind ticking away, because if it wasn't like that, I would just be in the gym training all the time anyway and then being broken. And everybody has to listen to me complaining about how sore I am. So,
do you ever want to get to a point where you can train again?
Of course.
Can you get some like Mexican collagen or something to fucking...
We'll see. If you know of any,
I'll try suss some out in South America. Yes, exactly. I said collagen. I did that, which is the sunny thing.
Oh, that's what I was like...
Did you put Mexican collagen in my eye? That's what I meant stem cells.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't heard about this, please. Please elaborate.
Well, I think you could just use some really nice lips. That's what I was getting.
Oh, okay.
Get some real big fat lips going. We're on the Gold Coast.
Self-conscious about my lips now.
I meant it in a bimbo way.
Yeah.
Not in a trying to fix your face way.
No. Yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. That's my main goal, to really get back to not so much from competing. I would love to do that, but now it's just more be able to just roll and train for fun and maybe get back to sparring and so forth.
Yeah. Is the main one your neck or is the main one your back?
Just my back, really. I just got like bad sciatic pain, which trial and error with everything, with all these different things to kind of get it back to being good again. But
have you had like cortisone shots or anything?
Yeah, I've had a bunch of those in different spots in my spine. No, not really. I'm looking into maybe having to have surgery, but I don't want to do that really. I want to exhaust every other option, but we'll see what happens. But that's my main goal. Is it went from I want to go back, compete at a very high level and fight professionally, to now I just want to be able to train sometimes. I just want to live a normal life without pain now. Yeah. So I'm not even putting any thought to that whatsoever. That's why I'm just trying to do all this other stuff to maybe not focus on the main thing. Yeah. Because, I feel like I'm in a little bit of a limbo at the moment where I can't really solve the problem just yet. Yeah. So got to do something anyway. So,
but instead
to keep
of like
the brain occupied.
Yeah, exactly. But instead of like, a lot of people would just sit around and feel sorry for themselves, but you actively get out and help people and still teach classes every day and still show up and like show the techniques properly. Yeah. Even though I'm sure you're in pain probably half the time. Like you broke your toe 2 weeks ago or a month ago. Yeah. And you're still teaching classes. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? A lot of people would fucking go, I need time off. My toe's broken. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we're all addicted to something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It just depends on the addiction, really. So I still feel like I got to kind of give back and still be a part of what I've dedicated my entire life to. Yeah, my passion. So now I feel like I can just help other people and so forth to get better as much as I possibly can. Whoever deserves it, and who's willing to learn. I'm willing to be there and help them out as much as I can. So just focusing on that.
Yeah.
And I guess not being as selfish and just, which I never was anyway.
Yeah.
I was always a coach anyway,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
But
really.
being a fighter, there is a selfish element to it because it's
Of course.
you. It's not a team sport. It's a solo.
Of course, definitely. Yeah, where it's the most important thing. I was like hell to be around as well because like, you know, thinking about like you've got to compete in a fight in like 3 months time or something. Me, because I'm always thinking about it. That's like the number one thing. It's like, okay, 5 minutes didn't go by that I was having a good time and I was like, oh, damn it. I got to get ready for a fight soon. Damn. You know, it's like, oh, yeah. Oh. You know, but I don't know.
Even I found myself doing that with just jiu-jitsu. Like once there's the date set and you paid your registration, you said, I'll just before I go to sleep every night, just every bad situation that could possibly happen, just me getting submitted in my head. I'm like, nope.
And that's good anyway.
Yeah.
But then again, preparation is everything. If you're like, you should be thinking like our brain doesn't know any different really. We should be thinking like that if we haven't prepared.
Yes.
And then we go to compete and we're like, oh God, let's see how we go. But if it doesn't mean anything to you, it wouldn't matter as much anyway. But because it means so much to you, you're getting prepared for a certain event. So it's like, all right, now something is going to happen. Now I have to start to get ready. But if you've done all the hard work, that's all good. You can put your mind at ease because what else can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
But just stress is just
but there's
part
always
of it
that
anyway.
I remember even like I train hard, but I would think, oh, someone else is training harder than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. doing runs and like
the Mike Tyson videos.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
Like, oh, man, haven't even seen that time of the day.
Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, it is what it is, really. But you're still training anyway. It's just, and that's why some people are good at switching it on, like when they compete. Like I found when I competed, I look at my performances and I'm like, oh, terrible, kind of absolutely terrible compared to what I do in the gym. But then again, some people are different. They're terrible in the gym and then they compete really well, but they just switch it on. Or just some people are exactly the same. Like I've seen some athletes where, you know, they might be, say, like kickboxing, they're hitting the pads and they do the exact same thing when they're fighting.
Yeah,
and when
no
they're sparring,
hesitation.
exactly the same. And you're just like, oh, wow, okay. That's the goal, to get to that level.
Yeah.
That's where I think, like, the fundamentals are the most important things with whatever sport you're really into. Like, say, I'll just use, like, say, kickboxing, like striking or jiu-jitsu or something like that, because at the heat of the moment, you want to go to your go-to move that you've done so many times and you perfected it and you've worked around all the different little variations of how your partner reacts and so forth to what you're going to do. But, you know, I always kind of use the analogy, like you could look like world champion boxing. There's only two things you can really get hit with anyway, but you still see world champions getting hit with, like, say, a jab. And that's like the most common thing ever. Like, oh, he's got to keep his hands up. He's always getting hit with a jab. You're like, don't you think he knows that? Of course he knows that. But then again, the person delivering it just has better timing. Yeah. You know, and it's just...
Or a momentary lapse of judgment.
Yeah.
Which is usually what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's like the times I've competed the best is when I felt the most present. Like, sometimes I'll be like with the headphones in and I'm G'ing myself up and I'm like, fuck. And like, but like last time
Squat jumps.
Yeah. But last time at States, I just felt comfy and I was talking shit to the dude who was lining us up. Yeah. And I was joking around and I just felt like I was at the gym. So when I went out there, I was like, oh no, I feel good. I feel present. I feel like in the moment. And then like I was able to do the techniques that I've trained for cerebrally without
3-point sweep, things like that. Yeah. You know, your go-to move.
All my go-to moves. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, and yeah, it's interesting how like you can, you know, you feel great just like you're at the gym. Yeah. And then it could be a bigger comp and then really it's the same thing. When you get out there, like there's moments where I've been out there competing and I'm like, oh my God, I'm really doing this. Or sometimes I'm like, you're just like, it's funny.
Yeah. I know I had that same kind of realization because before it I was like, oh, it's States, it's huge.
Oh my gosh.
Blah, blah. And then kind of when I was there, it didn't feel as
it's
huge
just
and important
the name.
As I'd built it up in my head.
But yeah, it's funny like that as well because it could be you're competing against the exact same person. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, but this is States, it matters more. You're like, not really. Yeah, not It's the same. It does. Yeah. Of course it does, but as long as that doesn't affect your performance anyway.
Yeah, it's what value you kind of give it to in your own mind.
Yeah, true.
If you let it get to you or if it's just another competition.
Yeah. Like I could go out there and do some other random sport or something like that, and even at a competition, I don't really care about it. I'd probably do okay or something with something, but then again, I didn't put any stress because it doesn't mean anything to me anyway. So, did
you feel more out of pressure when you went for like the belt in XFC?
Well, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, a little bit more pressure, but at that time, I was very in the zone. I didn't care really. I was just like I felt like that was a terrible performance anyway. Like, nothing off my opponent. He's a very, very strong guy and very athletic and very technical and so forth. Very, very hard fight. But I just felt pretty good at that time where I've competed other times. And, just mentally I felt there, really. The fact that it was going for a title or something didn't matter too much, really. Because I previously came off another win, and then I was competing a lot. I was competing quite regularly, so obviously that's great. It's just like you get conditioned to anything. Same thing with competing as well. So, and then I've had other performances that were not as big as that one, but they meant more to me for some reason, or there was a lot of external things or something happening else in my life that I didn't perform nearly as good, or, I was more stressed out leading up to it, and, so it's just like anything, really. It's how you look at it, really. And then who knows? Everybody just sees a competition, right? Yeah. And then outside of everything else, injuries and life and whatever, and it doesn't really matter. But that's what they remember you for, really. So
because that's when it counts.
Yeah, that's when it counts. You can just have a bad day.
Well, exactly.
That's fine.
Zig and when you should have zagged.
Bingo. And we're not perfect, always striving to get towards that, but we're never going to get there anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so as long as you take something away from it anyway, even if you did perfectly physically, it might be mentally you got to focus on something else. Or, just, you were doing the wrong training or something like that, or you overdid it, or you couldn't cut the weight properly, or whatever it may be, really. Or just some little stuff up. Like, I'm not going to have that person in my corner anymore, or something like that, whatever it is, so.
Once you reflect and watch the footage back or whatever.
Yeah, just like you were saying a little bit earlier, talking about listening to yourself on a podcast. I can't do it. It's so cringy. Just you can't do it. I hate watching myself compete. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Yeah,
I know. I've watched the ones I've lost 1,000 times. Just what I do wrong here and everything. I'm just like, you idiot. I'm yelling at myself.
Yeah, because we're our own biggest critics, and that helps us to get to the stage that we're at anyway. But I'm the same. I'm techniques I teach every single day to all my students, so basic I shouldn't even have to say them anymore. Yeah. And then I'm in a competition and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I didn't even do that. Should have got an underhook. I was like, I just froze. And you just have those moments. You just complete mind blank. So and it's oh my gosh.
There's a few moments in my last one where I can hear you going get your hook out, and I'm just chilling there. I'm like, what are you doing? Listen to Gav, get your hook out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, it is. It's all good.
Yeah, it
doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of times I'll say things and I stuff up at comps, and everyone does anyway. Yeah. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. So
it's good to just get out there. Yeah. I think it's just brilliant for your jiu-jitsu in general.
Really, it's no different, really. Because I'm sure you deal with people that are quite aggressive anyway, and it's 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're not at your best when you're like that anyway. It doesn't matter who you are, really. There's a time and place for where you've got to be quite explosive to get a sweep or a takedown. But if you just squeeze in the whole time, you're going to gas quite quick. 100%. And then, it's just go in there with a clear mind. And I can, like I said, I can be a crazy hypocrite and just relax, all good, don't worry. You'll be fine, get out there, all good. It's just like another training session. But to me, it never was anyway. I'm I'm stressing out. Everybody's watching. Nobody cares. That's the thing. It's funny. It all kind of comes down to you. Once you're over and done with, they'll be on to the next thing. Yeah. So it's whatever.
Churning them out.
It doesn't even matter anyway.
I remember thinking that because I worked the comp the day before.
Everyone's here for me.
Yeah. It's not like that. It's just next. Even the ref's yawning and shit. The ref's what time is it? Can I have fucking lunch yet? Fuck. All right, next fight. All right, come on, guys. Yeah. It's super relaxed and just one after the other. It's not well, that's why I was asking about the XFC one, because it's that's you walk out and it's Gavin, hey.
Got your own music.
You got your own music and it's the spotlight and you walk in, it's not as...
Yeah.
Boom, boom,
but once your fight's over, obviously there's people there for you, they're on to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's funny. But you're like, everybody's here to watch me. And then you're over and done with. They're on to the next thing. And then a week goes by. You're still thinking, oh, far out, I lost. Everybody remembers how I lost. They don't remember anything. Like, even my students competing, it sounds bad, but like, could be like 15 or 20 students, and they're like, oh, I got caught in this and blah, 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 and this happened, and what did you think? And I'm like, I have no idea. I've been here for like 8 hours, and I've seen like 50 matches that are my students or something like that, or 20 or 30 or something like that. I'm like, I don't remember the details, what happened again. Thing. We'll work on it next week. But I now know what to work on because you've shown me the footage, but I completely forgot your match. But to them, it means everything. It's just like yourself as well. It's just, you know what you did wrong, and then I have to rewatch your footage and go, oh yeah, cool. All right, I know what we're working on next week. So
But I think the best thing that ever happened to me was going out and competing and then losing my first one and getting submitted.
That's
because then like
good.
the worst thing that could happen happened.
Bingo.
And then it was just all uphill from there. You know, I mean, I got submitted again after that, of course, but like, it just, it was like a
rock bottom, worst thing ever, right?
Ever, exactly, is the worst thing that could happen, and it happened, and I was still alive. And
what did you get caught in anyway?
Triangle.
You're pretty good at getting out of triangles now.
Very good at getting out of triangles.
Bingo, there we go.
Exactly.
Well, if you didn't get caught in the triangle, you're just like, it happens at a high level. At states, you get caught in a triangle, you're like, I haven't been here before. Haven't had to work on my defenses. Yeah, and that's the most important thing as well. Like, it's easy to go out and win. Everybody loves you when you're winning and stuff like that. But it's if you lose, what are you going to do from that? Are you going to learn your triangle defenses, which you did? And then we could say, like, there's another student as well. He's losing every single comp, but he doesn't care. Every single competition he's ever gone in, he's lost and been training for like 5 or 6 years. But doesn't care, still turns up and he's like, I'll get one sooner or later. And that's the right attitude to have. How much more is it going to mean when he gets a win? He's only a kid, a teenager now, but like he's getting better and stuff like that. But the fact that he just has that, I'm just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And that's
a brilliant attitude.
Yeah. And that's what's sad with parents as well. Like, yes, they idolize their kid. They can never do anything wrong, but they need to win. And then it's a lot of pressure on the kid as well to win.
Yes.
And then that's why you see a lot of kids crying and stuff because they didn't win, and they let down their coach and they let down their parents and so forth. But as long as they go out there, and I'm happy with my students, whether it's say like MMA or Jiu-Jitsu, whatever it may be, whatever competition they do, they go in there and they give it 100%.
Yeah.
And then again, they lose, all good. It doesn't matter. That's life. That's all a part of it anyway. And it's great to see how people deal with it differently as well. Or, they go in, they win. That's great too.
Yeah.
But as long as they just try their best. Yeah. Really.
And don't give up.
Of course. That's the most important thing.
It's like, Kelvin Gastelum?
Yep.
He apparently in college lost his first 30 wrestling meets straight. Just lost every single one of them. And then just kept doing it. And like now look at him.
Yeah. I mean,
amazing. Most people would have been like, fuck this shit. I suck at wrestling. I'm never doing this again.
True.
But he has that same attitude.
Just grinding and you don't care. Like,
and then
it's not
by
the
time
end of
you
the
win,
world.
it's going to feel that much better.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. You just got to go out there and do it again and again and again. And it's just, what if like he stopped then, which is crazy to think that then. He's like, I'll keep losing. I don't care. It's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
So, but then again, look at where he is now. So, I don't remember who it was, but I was listening to this motivational speaker where he was saying he was always scared of becoming broke and having no money or anything like that. And to him, that was his rock bottom.
Yeah.
So what he did, he was like, all right, I'm going to experiment. So my biggest fear is hitting his version of his rock bottom. And he was like, okay, I've just got a sleeping bag. I'm just going to sleep on the concrete and then live off the smallest amount of money I possibly can for a week. And then he did it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And after a while, like initially it sucked for him. And then he was saying, I didn't care anymore. If that's the worst thing, he's like, I'm used to this.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not that bad. Life goes on. And he's just like, it wasn't that bad anymore. And then that basically, I thought I'd give that a go as well. Like whatever my version of rock bottom is. I don't want to sleep on the concrete, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
But after that, he became incredibly successful through business because he was just like, what have I got to lose? If that's it. He's like, I got used to that, and it wasn't really that bad. So
And that was the worst. Yeah, his idea of rock bottom, the worst possible scenario.
a triangle first match.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like you look at some people like there's a black belt, as you know, like Shane Poppleton. He's been in competitions where he goes in 4 divisions and he's lost every one. And then he's black belt as well.
Yeah.
But that's life. And then doesn't matter. Next comp, he might win one and gets gold or silver in the next one, but just doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
Best attitude to have anyway. So
100%.
yeah,
Keep on trucking.
keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
But that's like, even that day that I got triangled, everything wrong that could have happened. I didn't take my bag into the when I weighed in. I didn't take my bag because I didn't know you couldn't get out once you'd weighed in.
Okay.
So I was like, "Fuck,
I'm dehydrated.
didn't have my water.
I need my protein."
Didn't have my water.
Yep.
It was Dad's birthday, and I invited Dad to come down.
Okay.
Dad couldn't get a park and was late, and Jack and his mate Damo will come down to watch me as well. Both were late, and so was JTag and Daz, both late, and like everyone came late, and I lost fucking straight away in a triangle.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, what happened? How'd you go?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've already lost."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh," and it was just the worst. It was like a horrible day. It was the worst, and it was Dad's birthday, and then we had to like go out to
Celebration. You're like, I don't feel like celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, but like it was the worst case scenario that could have happened. So then after that, I was like, well, it can't be fucking worse than that day.
Yeah, true. And then again, it's how you deal with it anyway.
Yeah.
So you're just like, oh, that sucks. I know what I got to work on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And because that was at white belt too. So I could have been like, fuck this shit. I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Who needs a blue belt?
What if you just went out and got the triangle? You just walk around, you're like, I'm the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, white belt champion.
Exactly.
You
And
know?
I was like 4th stripe as well. So I was like, oh, I'm a good white belt. I'm going to go out there and fucking, I'm going to beat this dude.
Yeah.
And then I looked him up on Smooth Comp. Shouldn't have done that. Never do that.
No.
Never look up your opponent's record.
I've done that.
Don't do that.
Ruins everything.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
Fully
oh my
does.
gosh.
And he had fucking 36 wins or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how's this even fucking possible? And then,
What a sandbagger.
yeah.
Why isn't he a purple belt now?
Yeah,
Or something.
exactly. And then I just fucking, and I lost. But like, I learned from those mistakes, you know?
Of course. I've done the same thing. I was like, I went against somebody and they're like, oh my God, you got this person first. I was like, oh, I don't care. It doesn't really matter. And then somebody else came out and they're like, no, you got him first. Well, good luck. And I was like, thanks. Whatever. I'll shake it off. And then it stuck with me mentally because the 3rd black belt came up and said, random. I had no idea who the hell these people were. Like, I saw who you drew first. That sucks, man. And I was like,
do you work for this guy?
far out. I was like, did he pay these guys? And then I was like, oh yeah, no. I found out, he never loses comps. Like it would be the biggest upset ever. And yeah, I just didn't do anything. And I'd been there before in the same position because I looked up this person. I was like, oh my God, they got such a good highlight reel.
Yeah.
I didn't have one because I didn't put one together or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, just went out and then I was just like a deer in headlights and I was like, did nothing.
Yeah, and froze.
Yeah, and then just like, and then got caught in a submission. I was just like, they're like, why didn't you do this? I was like, I don't know. I just didn't do anything.
Even stepped on the mats.
Mental warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where before, like, and other times I've just been like, fuck it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. And then that's kind of a good attitude to have. Yeah, you respect the person or whatever, but who cares?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So.
Have fun. Hit some funky shit.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Flying triangle, land on your head. Maybe not that, but yeah.
I'm not going to do that anytime soon.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
No.
Yeah.
I think you were going to teach me one day and then we didn't do it. And I'm like, it's probably a good thing. I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep students, not, put them in wheelchairs and so forth.
Yeah. Less wheelchairs, the better. I've always said that. It's one of my mottos.
Really?
Less wheelchairs, the better. Yeah, people think I'm like anti-disabled
Yeah,
people.
what do you got against people in wheelchairs?
I know, but it's not like that. It's more putting them in the wheelchairs that I'm against.
Oh, okay. All right then. Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
With you the other way, like, yeah, I'm all for putting people in wheelchairs. I have to have a bit of a chat here. Like, what the?
That sounds like a WWE fucking like arc. Like I'm the wheelchair guy or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not a good name for his. That's not the paraplegic-reno. No, that's a Ned
He rocks up in a wheelchair himself. Like,
Yeah.
I thought he was going to put in. Oh, okay,
Everyone
I was
else-
confused.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
This whole character's confusing.
Yeah,
He doesn't
but I like him. I like him.
I like him.
I'm going to be rooting for him because he's in a wheelchair. Yeah.
Oh, that would work.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you have to have like a Special Olympics kind of deal, like wheelchair wrestling. No, probably not. It's probably not going to be.
We could be onto something anyway. So
probably not.
I'll come and watch anyway, but I'll wear a disguise just in case people are like, look at the people in the crowd, those scum.
Scum.
Yeah.
Sitting there with their able legs.
Yeah.
Scum. Wrap it up. Oh, how long are we going for? Hour 20.
Cool.
Oh, beautiful.
I feel like I've just been rambling on about nothing.
Yes, well, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on. Thank you for
pleasure.
joining me. Welcome to
good.
the Fogcast. Probably should say that at the start.
Yeah. I was like, as we were going on, I was like, is there any introduction or anything like that?
I feel like the
Just
introduction makes it weird, and it makes it
Yeah,
like
because
too
we were talking,
formal.
I was like, has he pressed like the record button or anything?
Yeah,
And,
because I felt like when I've gone like, welcome back to the Fogcast. Here I'm with Gavin Hain, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, all right, Gavin, tell me a bit about yourself. And then you're just like, okay, so yeah. I'm like, nah, it's not gonna be like that. I'd rather just be a real conversation.
Waiting for Jack to come over and go, you guys ready to start? I'm like, far out. Said all my good stuff already. Yeah.
So
How
much
am I
fun.
going to go back?
What a waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, thank you for coming on. Do you want to plug your Instagram or Jiu-Jitsu grappling?
Gav.bjj.
Oh, yeah.
Gav.bjj. And that's it, really. That's me. Follow me on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll put your handles in there.
Good man.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Cool.
the legendary Gavin Hain.
Thank you.